Have you ever found yourself drowning in a sea of information where you had to make critical decisions in the turbulent waters of uncertainty? Have you felt the weight of complexity bearing down on your choices? In a world where well-considered decisions are one of the key pillars of success, our ability to think critically is an invaluable asset, one that you should start to invest in. And in today's video, I'll show you how. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sabine Renner. I'm an organizational psychologist, leadership coach and trainer, and former corporate finance professional with over a decade of hands-on corporate and leadership experience. It's my mission to share with you insights that will empower you to excel in your career and advance in your leadership journey. Now, before we delve into the tips, let us quickly define what critical thinking actually means. Critical thinking refers to our ability to make rational decisions and judgments that are free from biases, emotional undercurrents, and logical fallacies. It involves the ability to perceive, analyze, and evaluate information objectively and in a thoughtful, reflected, and independent way. To think critically means to proactively and inquisitively engage with the information provided rather than just passively absorbing it and taking it for face value. Critical thinking isn't just an isolated skill, it's a bedrock on which other vital skills in the business world stand, and that will help you make better decisions, solve problems, and communicate masterfully. Having understood the essence of critical thinking and its role as a cornerstone of crucial business skills, it's time to roll up our sleeves and delve into a structured approach to advance your critical thinking. This 6-step process isn't just theory, it's your practical guide to mastering the art of critical thinking. And to make this relatable for you to follow along, let's look at a real-life scenario. Imagine you're a project manager responsible for a critical project. The board is looking to you for recommendations on whether to invest in a cutting-edge technology solution. This decision could significantly impact your department's performance and the company's bottom line. The stakes are high. You're overwhelmed with data and wonder how to best navigate the situation and come up with the right recommendation. So now let's grab a piece of paper to follow along as we explore step 1, which is to clarify the purpose. Before you embark on any critical thinking journey, it's essential to define the purpose clearly. Your purpose is a guiding star that will illuminate your path through the maze of information. To do this effectively, ask yourself the following questions. What specific questions do you want an answer to? What is the core issue you aim to resolve? Are there any particular objectives that should guide your thinking? By answering these fundamental questions, you lay the foundation for focused, goal-oriented, and purposeful critical thinking. Without, you might be at risk of getting lost in information overload. Now, in our scenario, the overarching question could be, should our department invest in this new technology? Then, related to this, we would want to make sure that the technology investment not only aligns with the department's goals and budget, but also fits into the existing technology infrastructure and that it is also aligned with the broader organizational picture. Step 2 is about creating your own perspective list. Before delving into any kind of external sources of information, begin by challenging yourself to compile a list of various viewpoints, arguments, and key concepts that you deem significant when approaching the problem and topic at hand. This exercise encourages independent thought and ensures that you establish your perspective first, minimizing the risk of adopting potentially biased and distorted viewpoints from external sources. And by doing so, you lay a solid foundation for critical thinking that remains anchored in your own understanding before considering external guidance. In the case of the technology investment, we could, for example, consider perspectives such as the financial perspective. What are the potential costs and benefits? The technical perspective. Will the technology integrate smoothly with the existing systems? And the team's perspective. How will it impact the people's work? Then you want to collect your initial thoughts around these points, as well as questions that you may have. In step number 3, you then want to scrutinize and challenge your perspective. Self-analysis is your navigation tool through the biases that often cloud critical thinking. In this step, ask yourself 2 crucial questions. What's your point of view based on your collected perspectives? And how do you actually feel about them? Write down your answers and assess whether your responses are neutral, positive, or negative. Do you see opportunities or challenges and problems ahead? Are you excited? Or on the contrary, are you concerned or even fearful? Why is this exercise so crucial? Because whether consciously or unconsciously, most of us are influenced by various forms of cognitive biases. biases. One of such biases is so-called confirmatory bias, where we tend to favor information that aligns with our preconceived notions or emotions, which then reinforces our existing beliefs and really makes it challenging to think objectively. And this brings us to step number 4, which is to expand and curate your sources. With your own perspectives in check, it's time to gather further information. This step is about expanding your sources of information and curating them wisely. When evaluating potential sources, ask yourself, are these sources directly relevant to the problem at hand? Can you trust the information presented? What might be the intention or interest behind the source? In the technology investment case, we should seek data, expert opinions, and market analysis from sources that we can trust. Understanding the intention behind the source would help us identify potential biases, such as, for example, a vendor's vested interest in selling their technology. In the next step, step 5, you then analyze and evaluate the arguments presented. With your sources in hand, it's time to dive deeper. This step involves unpacking the arguments, claims, and evidence within your sources. You're essentially building your critical toolkit to evaluate the problem effectively. Ask yourself questions such as, how effectively do these arguments address the problem? Does the argument lead to a clear logical conclusion? And does the conclusion logically stem from the argument's reasoning and claims? Are there any claims that are unsupported? And what's actually missing to complete the picture? For the technology investment decision, we would want to analyze the arguments from financial experts, technical advisors, and our team. And we would consider the quality and relevance of the evidence presented and check for any signs of bias or flawed reasoning. Once you've done your evaluation, it's time to move to the final step, which is to craft your own argument. Creating arguments is the culmination of critical thinking, the art of assembling evidence, reasoning, and claims to form a compelling standpoint. Think of it as a jigsaw puzzle, where evidence, reasons, and claims come together to create a logical and coherent argument. You aim for a clearly defined main claim or argument that is supported by solid, balanced, and logically lined up reasons that are backed up by evidence. Now, let's relate this to our technology investment scenario. We are tasked to come up with a recommendation. Should the company invest? Yes or no? To come to this conclusion, we assessed whether investing into the technology actually aligns with the goals of the department, and whether it fits into the budget and the existing infrastructure, and whether it makes sense in the broader organizational picture. And we also considered the team's perspective. We assessed different sources of information and connected the dots, and we filled questions to fill in the gaps. And because we've done all of that, we are now able to present succinct, well thought through arguments that are backed by solid reasons and evidence, which then helps us to present our case in such a way that it makes it not only easy to follow, but also convincing to buy into our argument. So, as you embark on your journey to elevate your career and leadership, remember the power of critical thinking. It's a skill that not only enhances your decision making, but forms the bedrock of other essential competencies. Your future self will clearly thank you for investing into this invaluable skill. If you're eager to explore more insights and strategies that will help you advance in your career and leadership success, click that subscribe button to stay connected and watch out for our next week's video where we explore 5 of the most common cognitive biases and how to outsmart them. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to welcome you in the next video.